friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy CowboyJobu, and as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Because without you guys, we certainly wouldn't be becoming one of the fastest growing Dallas Cowboy YouTube channels out there. I want to thank each and every one of you guys. Well, here it is. It's another Sunday without football, but Lord knows we're only 2 weeks away from training camp. And I got to tell you, I'm excited. But I want to talk to you guys about something that kind of bugs me. What happens a lot of times, here's the thing. We all like attention. We all crave it. That's what we're here for. I do a video and hope that people want to watch it and see it and everything else. And if it's your career and what you make your money off of, you have to have people click on it. But a lot of times, people are so in a hurry to be the first one out there with the story to get the clicks that they don't worry about the people that they leave in the wake. And what I'm saying about that is a lot of times you'll hear stuff and people immediately, as soon as they hear it, will believe it. They did this to Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant, we heard about the tape, no tape, and this, that, and the other. And when there was no tape produced, none of these guys were held accountable for it. None of these guys said, hey, we're sorry that we screwed up your whole identity. You don't hear it. Because a few days ago when the whole Dak Prescott autograph signing thing happened, you had people talking about, some of the endorsements and stuff may be leaving Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is forging signatures because that's the headlines that you get. But even though a lot of you may not have even heard that Dak Prescott came out and said, hey, I know nothing about this. People who said that Prizio, who has a shaded background, says, no, Dak wasn't the one at fault here. We're making amends for that. In fact, we just signed him to a 2-year contract. So all these people that were saying that Dak Prescott's going to lose endorsements because of this. Dak Prescott, who's been squeaky clean, is now soiled because of this. And people like Colin Cowherd who say that Dak Prescott will miss having Tony Romo for the leadership because of the off-the-field instances. Well, I got to tell you, you would think that the stuff that's happened with Nolan, Carroll, drunk driving, and Damien Wilson pulling out a gun in the parking incident, you would have thought that nothing ever bad happened to the Dallas Cowboys when Tony Romo was there. But we did have Greg Hardy, didn't we? Didn't we have Pac-Man Jones in those instances? Didn't we have a drunk driving that ended up killing one of our players when Tony Romo was the team leader? So when you hear people like Colin Cowherd say there's a leadership void, I think back to last year. And you could make that inference in 2015 because when Tony Romo got hurt, that team definitely lost his abilities and his skills, and you could say, yeah, they need his leadership. Even the Cowboy players would say, we need Tony Romo. When you go from 12-4 to 4-12, you could say, yeah, the thing that's been missing is Tony Romo. So we need that guy. But here's the thing. If that is your argument, Colin Cowherd, then how do you explain last year? How do you explain the Dallas Cowboys, the only change that the Cowboys had after losing Tony Romo, pretty much was Dak Prescott? And if 2015 was a disaster because you had a young guy as the quarterback, Brandon Wheaton, well, you also had Matt Castle, who was a veteran who had played with New England and had success around the NFL. Those two guys won one game, and I won't even credit it to Matt Castle. I will credit it to Jason Jackson for being an idiot running backwards on a punt return when you were up, fumbling the ball on the 6-yard line and allowing the Cowboys to kick a game-winning field goal. But let's go back to the leadership standpoint, because if everybody bought into the notion that we have to have Tony Romo, and then Tony Romo gets hurt, The guy who was playing end guard tackle becomes your starter. And by end guard tackle, I mean he was a third string quarterback. Your job is sit at the end of the bench, guard the water bucket, and tackle anybody that gets near it. So Dak is thrown into this position. But from the beginning, when he could take a veteran, because Colin, you said that veterans will have a hard time listening to a guy who's only 23 years old. But in training camp, Dak Prescott lit into Dez Bryant last year. He said, and I don't know the exact quote, but basically, when I tell you to be an X, you got to be an X or it's going to screw up the play. You've got to do what I tell you to do. Dez Bryant, very headstrong, an alpha male, said, yeah, you're right, and followed along on that guy. Now, to me, I believe Dez is a veteran, and I believe that was taking control and leadership right there. Now, let's take Jason Witten, one of the oldest guys on the team. A guy who is Tony Romo's BFF. Jason Witten, by the middle of the season, had bought in to Dak Prescott, even though he was loyal to Tony Romo. So I don't understand what you say that Dak Prescott, people and veterans won't listen to the guy, because they already have. The only difference between 2015 and 2016, a few more yards from Ezekiel Elliott, but it's the same offensive linemen, same wide receivers, basically the same defense. And you go 4-12 versus 13-3. Now, the thing that really bugs me is when we go through and we hear players get slandered. You guys like Colin Cowherd and Shannon Sharp and Eric Davis and all of you guys are so ready to trash them. Yet, when it turns out you guys are wrong, I don't hear the retraction. And it bugs the crap out of me, because in the end, when you see something enough times, you start to believe it. And when you keep seeing that Dak Prescott has been questioned about forgery, or Dak Prescott and losing endorsements, and you don't hear anything counter of it, that becomes the narrative of what people believe and perceive. And that bugs me. But hey, what do I know? I'm a carpenter who's got a day job and a voodoo doll, and I'm just voicing my opinion, but I want to thank you guys for listening to it. I want to tell you guys a story later. I'll do it in another video that you guys won't believe, because sometimes when I relive the whole thing in my head, sometimes it seems like it was a dream. But it has to do with Roger Staubach and how I can relate Roger Staubach to what I know about Dak Prescott. And I think you guys will want to listen. So I got to go back. I'm working on some new stuff for the man cave here. My desk right here is a little too small because of all the stuff that's growing and everything else. So we're making a larger Jobu man cave desktop here, so that way we'll be able to do even more for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're having a great Sunday. And just think, guys, 2 Sundays from now, our team will be working out on the field. I'll see you guys soon.